Okay, if you were rooting for the New Orleans parish escapees, only one is left. They caught Antoine Massey, the guy with the face tats that was taunting law enforcement with his Instagram posts. They caught him in Holly Grove. That's a neighborhood near Xavier University you might have heard of, because that's where Lil Wayne is from. So he was right there in the 7th Ward. He hadn't left the city. It's been 6 weeks.
Captured this afternoon, according to the U.S. Marshal's Office. Antoine Massey, who has been known for making social media posts as he's been on the run. He was one of the 10 inmates who escaped from the Orleans Justice Center several weeks ago now.
2 of the guys were caught in Texas. They were the only ones who got very far. Everybody else kind of caught there in Louisiana, mostly caught in the city. Antoine Massey, 6 weeks out. He was in the city all along. It's actually harder, especially if you escape kind of on the spur of the moment, unless you're part of like an organized crime family where because it's not enough to just have money. Because if you break out of jail and your family members have a couple bucks and maybe they're law-abiding, but they love you, so they'll help you. If they're not professional criminals or they're not used to doing criminal things, they'll make a mistake and get caught. But Massie was able to stay out all this time. Now, there was a $50,000 Crime Stoppers reward, and according to the police, someone is going to be getting that $50,000 for Massey's capture. He was called in on a tip. Someone he knew. And it's so sensitive when you're out there in the streets. I mean, this is the most extreme version, but like, if you're doing any type of criminal activity, all kind of people around you can drop a dime at any time, and you have to be careful how you talk to people, all kind of stuff, because jail is full of people who are turned in by their own family members for much smaller rewards than $50,000. So this leaves only Derrick Groves out. And I'm going to put an excerpt of the story I did about Derrick Groves. Derrick Groves is the last remaining inmate. He's serving time for homicide. Groves's grandmother was at the center of an infamous national case about crimes in New Orleans in the early 90s. She made a police report about witnessing a police officer named Len Davis, a cop in New Orleans, beating up a suspect. And Len Davis, this was when New Orleans was, the most violent city in the world, really. Len Davis hired a hitman who executed Derrick Groves' grandmother. So the last remaining guy on the run had a grandmother executed by a hitman on the payment of a New Orleans cop. That New Orleans cop had been on federal death row when Biden turned all but a few of the federal death row inmates into life sentence guys. Len Davis obviously had a sentence commuted. So chickens coming home to roost, to quote Malcolm X. You have a city with shady law enforcement. You don't get protected when you're a kid. In fact, the police may be harming you and your family. You grow up, why would you obey the law? And apparently, I mean, if these guys are hiding in the city, I'm sure people knew where Massie was at and they weren't turning them in, but it only takes one. And Massie was wanted for grape and some other DV charges, but it wasn't just DV, it was actual grape. So we'll see what's up with that. Is he guilty? Is he not? Who knows?
Version of Rodney King for this city. The police officer circling her house in the police car, calling the hitman about come do her now, describing the clothing she's wearing.
Man, that hoe standing out there right now with black jeans, a black coat, and a bitch brown skin with light brown eyes. I got the phone on and the radio. After it's done, go straight uptown and call me.
So you wonder why this culture of, no snitching and all that is so strong, and they can't solve crimes in neighborhoods, or they can't bring the crime rate down. Well,
He would, quote, handle the 30, meaning he was going to handle the investigation of her death so that no one would ever be held accountable for it. The hitman's like running late. He's having like child care problems. It's like something out of Pulp Fiction. And then finally he goes over there, kills her. Her children hear the shots and rush out and find their mother dead in the street. And then you hear him celebrating her death.
From what I'm hearing from the people, it's definitely a done deal.
And it was like a chill that went through the heart of, I think, almost everyone in this city.
A failing of the jail system from their perspective, because Massey's someone who had already broken out of a jail before and had broken tether and all type of stuff. But this is the various bureaucracies of our country falling apart, because when you take all the money away, so either when you have a poor place or like Trump was doing, you're taking all the money away, stuff starts to break. The New Orleans criminal justice system not very well funded. But anyway, so Massie is no longer on the run. If you were rooting for him, well, now you can donate to his defense fund, because he'll have a new, well, will he have a new inmate number? Either way, he's back in custody. So he stayed out for a while. Derrick Groves, here's to you, staying gone. I'm not here to promote prison escape, but like for a guy whose grandmother was murked by a crooked cop, you can't help but to root for him. So 9 down, 1 to go. Maybe they'll never get him. Who knows? Derrick Groves could be gone. I tell you, I've been to Mexico before. If you make it to Mexico, you could easily stay gone. You know, they cover up stories about people that escape or most wanted people. Like, maybe I'll tell the story sometime, but it's so dark. But someone I got into it with before ended up on Michigan's Most Wanted. And he was on there for so long, they took him off. But he was never caught. He died of natural causes not too long ago. But my favorite prison escape inmate, not my favorite, but just a crazy story. There was a guy, a white guy from the early 80s in California, looked like a handsome surfer type guy. And he got into like piloting loads of the yayo. And he ends up, I think someone tried to rob him for a load and he murked him, and he gets put in like San Quentin or something, and he escapes. And he gets caught in Mexico, and he knows, this is in the 80s, he knows the Mexicans are going to extradite him back to the U.S. So he makes a deal with like the gangsters in the Mexican jail where he kills a couple people in Mexican jail, and in exchange they help him break out. And if you read the U.S. government report about him, like he's thought to have been floating around South America for the last 30 years, like middlemaning dope deals and doing whatever he has to do and staying free. So Derrick Groves, don't assume he's going to get caught. People get away. Look at Massie. He stayed out 6 weeks, and he was right there in Holly Grove where Lil Wayne is from. Al Prophet, American Dope.